Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 14, text number 26. Nayasya loke swajana parova natyadrutho nota kaschit vigaraya vayam vrateir yacharana paviddham Asham smahe ajam vatabukta bhogam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative. Yet there is no one who is not connected with him. He does not regard anyone as any favorable or abominable. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff, and we vow to accept what is rejected by him. Purport. Kashyapa informed his wife that just because Lord Shiva happened to be his brother-in-law, that should not encourage her in her offense towards him. Kashyapa warned her that actually Lord Shiva is not connected with anyone, nor is anyone his enemy. Since he is one of the three controllers of the universal affairs, he is equal to everyone. His greatness is incomparable because he is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that among all the devotees of the Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva is the greatest. Thus, the remnants of the footsteps left by him are accepted by the devotees as Mahaprasadam, or the great spiritual foodstuff. The remnants of foodstuff offered to Lord Krishna are called prasadam. But when the same prasadam is eaten by the great devotee Lord Shiva, it is called Mahaprasadam. Lord Shiva is so great that he does not care for the material prosperity for which every one of us is so eager. Parvati, who is a powerful material nature personified, is under his full control as his wife. Yet he does not use her even to build a residential house. He prefers to remain without shelter, and his great wife also agrees to live with him humbly. People in general worship Goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, for material prosperity. But Lord Shiva engages her in his service without material desires. He simply advises his great wife that all kinds of worship, the worship of Vishnu is the highest, and greater than that is the worship of a great devotee or anything in relationship with Vishnu. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So Kashyapa Muni is cautioning his wife that just because Lord Shiva seemed to be, is my brother-in-law, it does not mean that, you could do any offense to him. Now, at the particular time when she was demanding sexual satisfaction from Kashyapa Muni, that particular time was inauspicious time, because that is the time when all the that Lord Shiva, followed by his ghost, would move around, and therefore he was very cautious, Kashyapa Muni, that this one should not engage in sexual relationship at that time. As we have discussed earlier, everything in a Vedic system or everything as per dharma, if somebody is following the laws of God, then it has to be done according to the specific instructions given by the Lord, as revealed, as in the revealed scriptures. So here also, even if it was for the procreation, actually Mother Diti was asking Kashyapa to give her a child. So it was in the right spirit actually. But at the same time, because she could not wait and at the wrong time it happened, it became very inauspicious, and it will be described later that how, or we already done I think, how the devilish ghost-like entities are conceived when the act is done in the forbidden time, and that will result in unwanted population, either impersonalist or demoniac mentality personalities, devilish people. Such kind of souls take the place in the womb of the woman who actually indulges in sexual act during the forbidden time. So, as a proper Vedic follower, as a proper person, as a human being who is interested in progressive values of life, they are always cautious about following the rules to the last word, as we see the spirit of Kashyapa Muni. He knows that if those rules are broken, it is bound to give some reaction. In fact, the last verse said that he paid obeisances to his fate, and then he satisfied her because she could not wait, because he knows that this is going to give a reaction. And he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And not only great devotee of Lord Shiva, as it is explained here, he is his brother-in-law, but still he didn't expect that he will be exempted or his wife will be exempted from such offenses towards him. The Shastras themselves have given prohibited times. It's not that, all of a sudden that day Lord Shiva was going there. No. At that time the ghosts are always moving around, that time of the evening. So, therefore it is already, set in the scriptures that these times one should not have sex, even if it is for procreation. So such fine rules and regulations are there if one has to actually get good progeny. In the Garbhadhana samskara, just like you see any other samskara you do, there is a timing for it. But there is a muhurta for it. That muhurta is, there are certain favorable times, unfavorable times. You avoid that and then do it in favorable times. We are talking about the pravritti marg. So in the same way here also, Garbhadhana is another samskara. There are timings for all those things. When one should do, when one should not do the sexual act for procreation, it's all very well described. Nowadays nobody knows these things, but these are all very important to bring good progeny into this world. That is why it is said that in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Arjuna says, I think, when all these, people are, if I kill all these husbands, then women will be left alone in the battlefield. And that will only increase Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara means, then that is creating living entities or bringing forth living entities without Garbhadhanas, without proper samskara. Then the whole world will be filled with all devilish living entities. Yeah, of course, every time of history there are devilish people and there are devotee people. Demigods and there are asuras. Both are always there in this material world. So, Lord Shiva being one of the controllers, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, Lord Shiva being in charge of Tamoguna, he is considered to be a greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu, because in spite of being in Tamoguna, he is always remaining transcendental. Actually, the tattva of Shiva is a very sensitive tattva, not so easily available, understandable. not so easily comprehensible. Neither Lord Shiva is a Jiva, nor is he Vishnu. And the Brahma Samhita gives a very good example of how if the milk has become curd, then it doesn't become milk again, not reversible. So in the same way, it is Lord Vishnu only who has become Shiva to take charge of the three modes of the material, the tamasic mode of nature. And therefore, he is different from Lord Vishnu. And he is considered to be the greatest devotee. Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. So Lord Shiva is a very, very, very unique and a special place in the Vaishnava Siddhanta. He should not be disrespected in any manner, in any point of time. Then it is like offending a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said here that his Prasadam, of course Lord Shiva being a great devotee of the Lord, there is nothing that he does not, he offers everything to the Lord, everything that he eats is prasadam. But then, there are, so if whatever he takes, that prasadam, if you take, it is called Mahaprasadam. Prabhupada gives a very, first a clear example or a clear explanation of what is the difference between prasadam and Mahaprasadam. Prasadam is what is taken by the Lord. Mahaprasadam is what is, that prasadam is further honored by pure devotees. That is Mahaprasadam. So Mahaprasadam is more powerful. Mahaprasadam. The highly potent, as Prabhupada says, great spiritual foodstuff. Another name he is given, Mahaprasadam. Great spiritual foodstuff. And taking that Mahaprasadam of Lord Shiva is very purifying. But at the same time, it is in our system, generally what happens, every temple of Lord Shiva, what they offer may not become prasadam or Mahaprasadam. Because unwanted things are offered by the ghostly, by the tamasic people to Lord Shiva. So that does not mean that, whatever tamasic they offer to Lord Shiva becomes prasadam or Mahaprasadam. Therefore, we are, as Vaishnavas, we are very careful that we don't take simply prasadam from, so-called prasadam, from every Shiva temple. We have to see what is how Shiva is worshipped, what they offer to Lord Shiva, in what spirit they offer to Lord Shiva. If it is offered in the right spirit, then we can take prasadam, Mahaprasadam. Otherwise, what will happen is, if you think everything that is coming from Shiva temple I can eat, you may be taking Mahaprasadam of ghosts. Because ghosts are there. Wherever Lord Shiva is there, ghosts are surrounding him. So immediately after they offer, the ghosts are feasting on that. And then you think it is Mahaprasadam, then you become ghostly. So we have to be very, very cautious about taking prasadam. Where do you take prasadam? What is prasadam you take? We can offer Lord, prasadam that we offer to Krishna, we can offer to Lord Shiva and take. It will become Mahaprasadam. In fact, it is said that the spiritual master is the sum total of all the demigods. So there is no reason, there is no need to offer to anybody. When you offer to Guru, then it becomes Mahaprasadam. It is by the mercy of the spiritual master that the prasadam is offered to the Lord and the Lord accepts the prasadam. After the Lord accepts the prasadam, that is honored by the spiritual master. So in this way, you see that whatever we take is Mahaprasadam. So this is another caution we have to have. No doubt we know what is the real principle of Shiva's position. And he should not be disrespected. At the same time, we also know that he is surrounded by ghosts and in all these devilish characters, all those souls that commit suicide, they all live as ghosts around him. and he is very merciful. It is explained here that he is very merciful, that he gives them, he gives them a body after some time. He blesses them with the body after some time, and different types of living entities, actually they follow Lord Shiva. Somebody wants to become Lord Shiva, Shivoham, 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 they say, I want to become Lord Shiva. So all kinds of living entities, ignorant living entities are surrounding Lord Shiva. So we have to be, practically speaking, we have to be very cautious from where we take prasadam. But within our heart, we know Lord Shiva. Whenever we go to any Lord Shiva's temple, we pay our obeisances to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is such a wonderful personality, his qualities cannot be described. What are his Vaishnava qualities cannot be described. I mean, he is the husband of goddess of Durga, the goddess of the material nature. She is in charge of the material nature, and Prabhupada explains that she has not even taken a favor of even having a house. So he is always roaming around in crematorium. He is roaming around without proper dress. So he is no greater vairagi than Lord Shiva. And Prabhupada explains that Lord Shiva's vairagya is not simply for the sake of vairagya. He understands that he is so spirited in his devotion to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, that he is thinking that everything is meant for Krishna's enjoyment. Why should I take anything? So this is the spirit of Lord Shiva that Prabhupada explains. I think in one of the earlier purports he has explained. So Lord Shiva does not think that, you see, he is in the proper Vaishnava spirit. What is the proper Vaishnava spirit? That nothing is meant for our enjoyment. We ourselves are meant for Krishna's enjoyment. That is the spirit he is actually exemplifying. No doubt, he wants to exemplify that living entities should not be enjoyers, but should worship Lord Vishnu, should surrender to Lord Vishnu. That is the spirit. He exemplifies that. While he is exemplifying that, the Vaishnava spirit is to engage everything in service of the Lord. Even now, if a pure devotee is using a good dress to wear, and his spirit of using that good dress is not for his social prestige or anything, he is using that to serve Krishna, in order to create a proper context for people to hear. He may have a big building. It is not for him. Or he may travel by a big car. Sometimes you see, at different times, different people relate in a different way. So for the sake of preaching, sometimes some things are required. So that is a real renunciation. That everything belongs to God and it has to be utilized in God's service. That is real renunciation. I am not the proprietor of anything. Krishna is the proprietor of everything. And in that way, one is neither inimical or hates anything in this world, or is attached to anything in this world. He neither hates nor attachment he has got. He utilizes everything in service of the Lord. He utilizes for the pleasure of Krishna. So that way, the Vaishnava Acharyas, it's not that they could not, if they wanted, they could have been renounced and detached. But then for the sake of preaching, they had to accept everything. So following in the same footsteps also, we also utilize this principle of Yukta Vairagya to actually spread Krishna consciousness. While utilizing it as Yukta Vairagya, the principle of Yukta Vairagya should not be forgotten. One should not actually become affected by these things that we accept for the sake of preaching. We should not get attached to it in a personal sense. Just like a cashier is counting the cash, he does not, in the bank, the cashier is not thinking the money is his. In the same way, anything good he utilizes he has for Krishna. He's got good intelligence, good body, good dress, money, opulences, whatever he has got. He does not think he is a proprietor. Krishna is a proprietor. Under his order, under his direction, I have to execute. everything in his service. That is the spirit of Yukta Vairagya. So, Lord Shiva's Vairagya is a little different kind of a Vairagya, meant to set example not for one generation, two generation, for all generations to come, till the creation exists. That the principle of Vairagya is very, very important. Extremely important. 8th canto, 7th chapter.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It is just a clarification regarding Lord Shiva. In the 8th canto, 7th chapter, in the churning of the Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. That's the chapter name, Prabhu. So Prajapati goes to Lord Shiva and prays like this: O great of all the demigods and Mahadeva, super soul of all living entities, and cause of their happiness and prosperity, we have come to the shelter of your lotus feet. Now please save us from this fiery poison. Means they are addressing him as a super soul of all living entities, Lord Shiva. And also addressing, you are the one incarnates as Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. You are the one who, next prayer they are saying, O Lord, you are self-effulgent and supreme. You create this material world by your personal energy, and you assume the names Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara when you act in creation, maintenance and annihilation. So in which mode they are offering, Prabhu?
See, you are saying that here Lord Shiva is said to be the source of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, isn't it? That's what he said. That's what it said.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's what you read.
Here it is given like that.
Huh? He is the source.
Okay. First is the super soul of all living entities.
That's okay, that I heard.
Yeah. And the second they are saying, you assume the names Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara when you act in creation, maintenance and annihilation.
Yeah.
So like that.
So one thing, you see, we have to understand one thing. The Maheshwara of this each Brahmanda is different from the original Rudra. Original Rudra is another principle. Sadashiva, the principle of Sadashiva. So that is why it is said that this principle is very difficult to understand, Lord Shiva Tattva. So it is not incorrect to say that from him everything is coming, because again he is also, his Vishnu has become Shiva, like milk and curd, simultaneously one and different. So we have to see what is the other context. Who is glorifying? Prajapatis. Prajapatis are glorifying. And even Maheshwara is the Shiva of this world, which implies that, you see, he is the source of Maheshwara, the Shiva who is the source of Maheshwara also. Need to think some more on it. What are the context, everything. It has not struck me. I have not heard that this particular, never noted that he assumes the form of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara.
Oh, the clarification is there in purport.
Huh?
Clarification is given in purport, bro.
Please read.
It says, since Lord Shiva is in charge of annihilation, why should he be approached for protection? Lord Brahma creates, Lord Shiva annihilates, but both Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are incarnations of Lord Vishnu and are known as Shaktya-Vesha Avataras. They are endowed with a special power like that of Lord Vishnu, who is actually all-pervading in their activities. Therefore, when prayers for protection are offered to Lord Shiva, actually Lord Vishnu is indicated. For otherwise, Lord Shiva is meant for destruction. Lord Shiva is one of the Ishwaras or the controllers known as Shaktya-Vesha Avataras. Therefore, he can be addressed as having qualities of Lord Vishnu.
Having qualities of?
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu.
And then this one also, it is said that that self-effulgent. And you create Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. There it is said, this prayer is actually offered to Lord Vishnu, the Purusha, who in his incarnations as Guna Avataras assumes the names of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara.
Right. Also the Shirodaksha Vishnu, who is the maintainer, he is also comes under Gunavataras. Because you see in the purport Prabhupada says Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is the source of all. So from Mahavishnu, this Gunavatara, in each Brahmanda, there is Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, Gunavatara is. So he is one of the, he is a Sattva Gunavatara, that way. The origin is Mahavishnu. So it's actually been offered, prayer being offered to Mahavishnu. It is a glorification of Mahavishnu. Any other questions? जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।